Hey, what's up everybody? It's Outdoor Asian Dad here. I'm in Taipei right now. It's about 5:40 in the morning. And of course I'm jet lagged, so I've been up since 4:30. So might as well go for a run. Of course, Taipei is a big metropolitan city. You can hear all the noise of the cars, even though it's 5:40. But it also has a bunch of rivers that run through it, and all along the rivers are levees that protect the city from the waters. But on the other side of the levees are a bunch of multi-use trails for bikes and pedestrians, and so it's a great place to run away from the noise, away from the cars and the motor scooters, and it's a nice way to get away from the city. I first came to Taipei 30 years ago, I think. And one of the biggest differences between then and now is that as a pedestrian, if you have the green light to walk, you can walk. 30 years ago, cars took priority. So it doesn't matter what the light said, your head had to be on a swivel. So it's a lot safer to be a pedestrian here now for sure, which is nice, especially for someone who doesn't live here, because you may not have the intuition of where to turn your head. So I'm staying near Taipei main station, and I am running along this road here towards the river. On Google Maps, I saw the road with this name, and I saw the road with the name Civic Boulevard. But Taipei also has a lot of roads where you have a road up there and a road down here, so it can be pretty confusing looking at maps to figure out what road you should be taking. All right, so this wall right here is the levee, and this opening here is the gate in the levee that we're gonna cross to get over to the river. Now this is another thing that's confusing with Google Maps or Apple Maps in Taipei here, which is that because there's a lot of overpasses and bridges, it doesn't often know whether or not you can actually cross underneath them. So you might want to check both maps, because with this entrance here, one map said I can cross it and one map said I can't, and I can't. So we were talking to our taxi driver yesterday about what I was saying with regards to pedestrians being able to cross the road. And he was saying that Taiwan, and Taipei in particular, were able to accomplish that through getting really strict with ticketing cars if they crossed the road when it was supposed to be the pedestrians' right of way. But as a result of that, then pedestrians became bold and they started crossing the road when it wasn't their turn. And then cars couldn't cross. So they then started ticketing pedestrians for crossing the road when it was not their right of way. So although it is much safer to cross the road now, I would not recommend jaywalking in Taipei. Number one, because you might get ticketed. But number two, because cars are really anxious to go when it's their turn. All right, so here we are. This is the river, and this is the path that I will be running on. Now this is one of the places in Taiwan where the name in English can be quite confusing. This is the river. At the end of the river is a city of the same name, and it is typically spelled Tamsui. You'll see that as the final station of the red line of the MRT. And in other places in maps, you may see it spelled as Danshui. It's the same thing, it's the same words, it's just pronounced differently. Tamsui comes from the Taiwanese pronunciation of Tamsui, and Danshui comes from the Mandarin pronunciation of Tansui. More often, you will probably hear people speaking in Mandarin, especially if you're a foreigner. So you will hear it verbally referred to as Tamsui. But in most written maps, it is spelled using the Taiwanese pronunciation of Tamsui for Tamsui. So you can tell that this is an old map because it uses the Mandarin spelling. But if we look down here, here is Taipei main station. So I just came across this way to the river and started jogging north. So I'm going to keep going north along the Tamsui River. And at some point in time, I'm going to cross over to the Keelung River and make my way to one of the MRT stations up here, either Suling or Jintan. I haven't decided which one yet. And take the MRT back to the hotel by Taipei main station. There's a bunch of banyan trees all along this path. And banyan trees and redwood trees are my two favorite kinds of trees. And well, there's no redwoods here, so I'm enjoying the banyans. Another nice thing about this path is that there's porta potties and vending machines, so you don't have to stress so much about bio breaks. You know, it's still a little early in the morning, but I'll bet you in about an hour or two, there's going to be about 50 elderly people doing their exercises here, like this guy is. So I haven't tried it myself, but if running's not your thing, Taiwan has bikes for rent all over the place called U-Bike, and it's pretty convenient. There's just racks all over the city, and I think you can use your transit card to rent them. But I haven't tried it myself, and there are a lot of things in Taiwan that require a Taiwan phone number because then they can match it to your credit card. So I don't know if foreigners can do it. If somebody knows, maybe you can leave a comment down below. So I really dislike running on the city streets, primarily because the stoplights take forever to turn. And so you're often waiting at the corner for 30 seconds or a minute. So my original plan was to cross here over to the Keelung River because it's the narrowest crossing on the peninsula. But it's still pretty early and I'm still feeling pretty good. So I might just keep going straight down to the end of the peninsula and then turn around and come down the other side along the Keelung River. So I'm really glad that I kept going instead of turning at that intersection that I originally planned on turning on. As soon as I passed that little fork, the environment completely changed. The buildings are much older. There's a lot fewer cars. You can see actually here, there's still a little vegetable plot. I'm actually on top of the levee now, as opposed to being on the other side of the levee. But even, back where I started, even though we were on the other side of the levee of all the cars, you could still hear them loud and clear. Whereas here, even though we're on top of the levee, it's much quieter, much fewer cars. Saw someone meditating, saw some folks chanting, and overall it's just a lot more peaceful and meditative on this side. It really does feel like a whole nother side of Taipei. What did I tell you? It was just a matter of time. It never gets old. I love the banyan trees. All right, so here we are at the tip of the peninsula. Back here was the Tamsui River, so we were running along that bank there, and then it kind of curls and exits that way where the red bridge is towards the ocean. Back this way is the Keelung River, and I'm going to be taking this bank back and then crossing to the other side of the river to find an MRT station to get back to Taipei main station. Keelung River is another one where it's pronounced Keelung in Mandarin, but it's spelled Keelung, which I assume is from the Taiwanese pronunciation, but I actually don't know how to pronounce it properly in Taiwanese. It took about 6.75 miles or so to get here, and yeah, it'll be a shorter run back because I'm gonna take the MRT. There's a group of volunteers here picking up trash along the bank. I just chatted with them a little bit. They're from an organization called Fuzi, I think is how they pronounced it. They say they come here once a month to pick up trash, and they also have a spot where they plant trees, which is pretty nice to see. really didn't expect to see this much agriculture this close to the city. Even though there's small plots, still surprising to me at least. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe these are banana trees. What I heard yesterday from a taxi driver is that most of the bananas from Taiwan come from the southern part of the island, from Kaohsiung and that area. But there was a big typhoon not too long ago that apparently spun in and out of the area for 3 straight days, which took out most of the banana trees, and I think that maybe some other fruit trees as well. And so prices of bananas, of all things, in Taiwan have skyrocketed recently. All right, I've been out and about for a little under 3 hours. I've covered a little over 8.5 miles. Meeting up with some family later in the morning, so I think I'm gonna call it a morning. I'm gonna cross this bridge here to the other side and find myself an MRT station to take back to the hotel and shower up. But yeah, for those of you in Taipei, visiting Taipei or living here, I highly recommend checking out the river system. There are never-ending paths all along them, and it's a great way to get out and explore a different part of the city.